Peace, peace, peace. I am Phillip Roundtree, and you are tuned into the April 23rd edition of Rhetorically Speaking. Salute to those who are watching on Facebook Live. Definitely props to those who are watching on YouTube Live. Make sure you hit that subscribe button at Quantify LLC. And salute to the people watching on IG Live. Shout out to the homie Marla. Props to you, Queen. Hope all is well. Listen, this is day 7,823 of quarantine, COVID-19, 2020. I don't even know what year it is. That's how these days be going. I'm not the only one who again feels like these days are just starting to run into one another. I didn't even know the day was the 23rd. Like I've just lost all track and it just all sensibilities related to time. That's why I had to make sure I got out the crib today. And me getting out the crib today was is good for my mental health. I mean, those who see me on socials know I posted I go out and run. That's probably the only thing that I go out and do, unless I make a trip to the local Dollar General, where I'm certain that COVID-19 is just lying on the floor because the floors are just disgusting, and then nobody wants to respect the 6 feet rule. The picture like Dollar General is like a mini Walmart, because like the Walmart is never quite clean. Like, keep it funky. Have you ever seen a janitor in Walmart? Have you ever seen a janitor in Walmart? Or is it usually an employee who might be cleaning up a spill? But there's not a designated person whose job it is to mop or to sweep, but let alone arrange the shelves so they're so they're appropriate. But yeah, those are my only times that I'm really out in the streets. And so I went out running today, and I pulled up to my local spot, and I was surrounded by these older black men sitting in cars next to me. Surprisingly, I knew one of them, and I've known him for at least the last 20 years now, just in passing from playing basketball. Now he's at least 30 years older than me, but from playing basketball at the local YMCA, then to the gym, and I just see him just sitting there. He just sitting. And so we struck up a conversation, and he was like, yo, I just got to get out. My wife would teach, she's still teaching, but I just got to go out and take my walk. I walk from here to the stop sign and back, and then I just sit in my car. I sit in my car and I read. I make some phone calls. I just do different things because I just don't want to be in the house. And he talked about how his wife gets on him if she catch corona. It's because of him being out in these streets. But I think that's the sentiment of a lot of people, especially a lot of older people, where it's, I just got to get outside. I just got to get outside. I may or may not walk, but I'm going to sit in my car and I'm just going to take in some of this fresh air. So when we talk about things that are good for our mental health, just getting outside and getting some fresh air. So regardless of whether I'm running that day or not, I go and sit in my car just to just get out from the confinement that home is. Like, I recognize that I'm privileged and lucky enough to have a home where I have various rooms that I can go in. But that withstanding, I still need to get outside and take in some air, because for me, especially for somebody like me who again lives with depression and anxiety, me being cooped up in the home is not good. And today was one of those days where it just was not good. Where you can't control your thoughts. You're perseverating on different things, and you just are out of control. But nobody can see it because you're not verbalizing it. But your thoughts are scrambling everywhere because you're experiencing some anxiety, high anxiety. And so again, it's critical during these times we try to find various spaces to where we can just get out and not think, even in the midst of COVID-19. So what does that mean? It might mean you might just got to go to the park and just sit, or go sit in front of your favorite coffee shop and just drive there, not get out the car and just sit. Just so you can get that energy from being outside. Because again, we know the sun is an antidepressant. It definitely has some healing components to it. And so it was another brother who was sitting out there, and he just started talking to me. I didn't know this gentleman. He saw me stretching, getting ready to run, and he started telling me about his day. He like, listen, we had to go to the bank, my wife and I, and had to call out of work. And so I just like, yo, I just had to come somewhere and just sit. And so he chose that spot to go and just sit and decompress. These are older people. These are older people. Now we understand the stressors and that they're at high risk. But again, we can't undersell the impact that COVID-19 is having on our mental health. And I'll get into an experience that I had while running and how it relates to one of the stories that I'm talking about, because unfortunately, everybody isn't in that same frame of mind of practicing social distance and just respecting other people. Now, if you might hear something in the background, I got the NFL draft on because I'm a football fan, even though they got to give my man, no, they don't have to give my man Kaepernick a job. Unfortunately, that's what comes with it, right? We talking about protesting for something that you believe in. Unfortunately, you can lose it all because you're risking it all. But yeah, I'm still watching. I'm definitely still watching, but definitely still supporting Cat. And so right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get into this first story about a rapper who I've never really listened to be honest. He's a part of that new school of rappers, even though he's definitely in his 30s, but I think he blossomed kind of late. And that's the late Fred the Godson, God bless the dead, who died today at the tender age of 35 from coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. And so when I saw that Fred the Godson had passed away, I had so many thoughts that went into my mind. Like how? Why? But then what influence did hip hop have in his death? But I'm gonna get to those things. I'm gonna give you a little background on who Fred the Godson is. So Fred the Godson, I'm gonna get his picture up here for y'all so y'all can see. And I'm not posting this to sensationalize his death, but this is something that he posted on his social media account when he was first diagnosed in early April, well, earlier this month. So he went on social media on April 6th and said, listen, man, I got this COVID-19. Pray for me. And so he got the prayers up and all of that, because that's what we do on social media when we post these things. I'm not going to say, I don't know if now is the time to say that, was it for attention? Because we know people post a lot of hospital pictures of themselves just for the likes, just for the attention. And so I'm not going to place that on him, because maybe it was him showing how real it is, because some people need to see how real it is. I know we've talked about it previously, and sometimes you need to see people who you know, or who you, in this case, who you may feel like you know, to recognize how real this issue is. So I'm sure there's a lot of hip hop heads who love Fred the Godson music who took a step back and said, oh, damn, they got Fred. Let me chill. Let me chill. And so we never know who that's going to be, what person that's going to be for you. Honestly, I can't say who that person is for me, because I know in January I wasn't too concerned about COVID-19, like 99% of America. But now I am more concerned. Maybe because it's starting to hit. Maybe it is that scary idea that it is a silent killer. We see that Pastor Waller here in Philadelphia of the church Enon Tabernacle, that he contracted COVID-19 and he's asymptomatic. I appreciate his divulging of his status, maybe more so than Idris Elba, because the difference is at his church, he found out because the Black Doctors Consortium, an organization, a group of Black doctors, are traveling amongst the inner city, quote unquote, inner city, high risk areas, providing free COVID testing, whether you're symptomatic or asymptomatic. So they have a leg up on your healthcare system because they're testing everybody. And so in order to show the importance of it, Pastor Waller got tested. And he subsequently tested positive for COVID-19. And again, he's in good spirits. about it, saying he's going to self quarantine, he's going to go about his daily life. But again, I can appreciate that more so than a Idris or Tom Hanks, right? Because I think it's a lot more pure, the reason why he was tested and he came out. But again, who am I to judge? You're allowed to do that for yourself. And so again, Fred might be touching some people who might not necessarily might have gotten tested or might not have adhered to stay at home orders, especially within the state of New York, which is being hit ungodly by COVID-19. And so his wife, Leanne Jemmett, on April 8th, and this was only a few days after he tested positive, she said that he was showing signs of improvement and no longer needed 100% support from a ventilator, which are good signs. Because I was reading at the largest hospital in New York, anybody who goes on a ventilator, they die. It's not even a matter of you come off the ventilator. No, it was like 100% death rate or near 100% death rate if you went on a ventilator. And so to hear about him coming off the ventilator only a few days after, that becomes encouraging. And so just again, just some background as far as the hip hop aspect of Fred the Godson. He was a part of an amazing class of, double XL freshman class for hip hops, which means that these rappers are going to blow. And so it was Kendrick Lamar, YG, Meek Mill, God bless the dead, the late Mac Miller, and we can have a conversation on opioid use, which I'd love to have because I lost my brother to the epidemic. God bless the dead, Bobby Baker. But he was on the cover with some greats. Now, granted, he never reached that status, but he's been consistent in putting out music between now and then. And so he's one of those people who has a cult following of people that love him, and he gets the respect of his peers. And so with that, I talked about my first thought when it came to Fred the Godson and his death. And was like, all right, what factors went into it? What factors went into it? Me seeing his picture and knowing what Fred the Godson looked like, he's obese. And I know it's taboo to talk about obesity in America because people fat shame a whole lot. America hates fat people. This is a fact. I could tell you that straight from the horse's mouth or the cow's mouth, which I was called in my younger years when I was full figured, as my mother liked to say. And so I understand wholeheartedly that America is not necessarily a fan of the big boned people. And so with that, I was like, all right, we know the risk factors. They say high blood pressure. They say obesity. They say diabetes. They say asthma, which it turns out Fred the Godson had. You can go to his social media pages and see that he's doing breathing treatments. So that's just not mild asthma when you have to give yourself breathing treatments regularly. So he was already immunocompromised as a result of that. And we know COVID thrives in these type of situations. But I wanted to delve a little deeper into the statistics. So the number one reason that they found in the study of people who had COVID-19 was high blood pressure. 57%. 57% of people diagnosed with COVID had high blood pressure. That's more than half. 41% of the people were deemed obese. 41%, that's less than half. And 33% had diabetes. Now, what do we know? We know that a lot of times that people don't just have diabetes. We know those as being the type 1 individuals, they might have been born with it. They could be in great health, but for some reason their body isn't processing as needed. But we know a large segment of the people who have diabetes are often obese. When I decided to make a lifestyle change at the age of 17, 16, 17, I was told I was pre-diabetic. I don't necessarily know what that means. I didn't care to ask the 75-year-old doctor what the hell that meant. I just knew diabetes didn't sound good. And so I was on my dean in an effort to lose weight and to stave off that, which I've successfully been able to do for the last 20 years. Again, this isn't fat shaming. So when I talk about Lizzo, when I talk about the late great Big Pun, who we know died from a massive heart attack, we know that obesity plays a role. And so, I know, again, this concern that we have about fat people is usually steeped in some type of fear, some type of shame, some type of hate. But when it comes out of my mouth, that's not necessarily what it is. When I see Lizzo, it's just like, yo, baby girl, you got talent out this world. And I know you can do a 2-hour set that will put skinny people to shame. But at some point, we, you, me, we need to look at it. I always talk about it's the reason why a lot of offensive linemen, when they leave the NFL, you see them drop 100 pounds. You see them drop 100 pounds. Jyree Evans, who I'm cool with from New Orleans Saints, he's still a big brother. You know what I mean? He's still a big brother. Don't get it twisted. And one of the nicest people you ever meet in your life. But he's definitely lost some weight. Because again, you have to eat to sustain that. That's what we don't factor in. Now, I know a lot of people, talk about thyroid issues, which is legit. But there are ways when you do get with a registered dietitian who's familiar with these things. When you get somebody who's knowledgeable just about nutrition in general. When you get with an experienced trainer. Listen, I ain't go 30,000 in debt for a second master's degree and master's in exercise science just to be out here not understanding how to work with different populations. If I just ever decide to go down that path. But it's ways. It's ways. Now, again, there's so many factors that we have to address. We have to address the programming that's taking place for somebody to get to the weight that they're at. The psychological programming, the emotional constraints and restrictions, and the physical restrictions. You can't just throw somebody out there and say, yo, go run 5 miles, and they haven't walked a block. That's why it was so great to have I always call him Chris Fit Pro, Chris Gilbert, who's Chris Fit Pro on Instagram on a few weeks back. And go check that out on YouTube when he talks about this is a perfect opportunity to improve your fitness. It might be just getting out and walking to the corner and walking back. That's called exercise if you're not used to doing any type of exercise. And then we slowly progress. And so when I see Fred the Godson, I see a brother who appears physically unhealthy. And again, I don't want to seem like I'm talking ill of the dead. But who's going to have these uncomfortable conversations? Who's going to have them? I see Saw, who goes viral for pouring all the sugar in her sweet potato and her yams, the mac and cheese, the fried chicken. Like, yo, that was cool when we had to survive. And unfortunately, with the food deserts that exist in the hood, where there aren't any fruits and vegetable markets and stands around, that you often have to rely on those things to get by. But for those who are able, for those who are capable, it's important we unlearn the eating habits that we've had, to go into the Chinese store every day. And again, it's so many factors that go into this, because at the end of the day, we talking about racism being a public health issue. Food deserts are racist. That's a racist idea. Point blank. Shout out to Zakia. I appreciate you. It's a racist idea. Because with gentrification, white gentrification that's taking place, we starting to see a little fruit and veggie stands popping up, little fruit and veggie markets. Because white people are like, ho, ho, ho. I'm not going to the poppy store. The hell is a poppy store? Now they're gonna call it the bodega or the poppy store when they take it and make it the name of their their store, their high society store. But no, the poppy store. What are you talking about? No, I'm gonna go to, what's that place that white folk always go to? I don't know the name of it. Ah, Wegmans. Wegmans. It's not a Wegman. To my knowledge, it's not a Wegmans in Philadelphia. Now I know it's a Whole Foods, and I know the looks that I get when I walk into Whole Foods. Like, who is this uppity Negro joining this here Whole Foods? I feel like they want to call somebody. Sometimes that's the most uncomfortable place to be. I think Trader Joe's, I've been in there once. I think that's more of for the everyday person. Still a little bougie. Definitely still a little bougie. It's not Cousins, where you hope you get some fresh fruits and vegetables. It's not Save-A-Lot. The mere fact that you got to go to a store named Save-A-Lot should tell you everything that we need to know. Where it should tell you everything that we need to know about, because I don't know no Save-A-Lot in communities where the average income level is above 100,000. Save-A-Lot. You ask somebody, go to somewhere. I live here in Pennsylvania. You go to Plymouth Meeting, like the real Plymouth Meeting, that concentrated area, and you be like, yeah, where's the local Save-A-Lot? Save-A-Lot? I'm not sure what that is. What are we saving here? There's a Wegmans down the street. Might be a Weiss, right? You might be lucky to get a Giant, but Save-A-Lot, because white people not having that. And so again, I'm not ignorant to the factors that influence the health of somebody like Fred the Godson. Because when he's 35, God bless the day, he's 35. When you've grown up 25 years eating 4 wings, shrimp fried rice with a soda on the side, why would I ever stop that? That's what I've known. That's what I've been programmed to eat. Sam says, sad day for hip hop. He had bars. I'll take your word for it, Sam. I've never truly listened to him because I'm one of them old curmudgeons where a certain age don't listen to you. Even if he is the same age, he just came along a little later. But yeah, it's definitely a sad day. But I think about, outside of the pre-existing condition that he might have had with asthma, I started to think about the hip hop lifestyle. And I can't say whether he was a weed smoker, an alcohol drinker, if he did opioids, all of the things that's promoted. But what about the grinding? Being in the studio for 18, 19 hours. I'm sure he got some stories about that not resting. That rise and grind, I got to stay after it. You become immunocompromised when you're not getting enough sleep, enough rest. And so those stereotypes associated with hip hop, it just had me thinking. And so now what I'm going to do, just like I did with Mac Miller, who could rap his behind off, that I wasn't aware of. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't aware that Mac Miller had bars. I just knew he was a white rapper. And I'm not a fan of that other white rapper, Eminem. But after he died of opioid use, it was just like, let me take a look at him. Let me listen to what he's talking about. And it's just like, wow. Because we forget that there's a person here. I'm curious to see what hip hop response is going to be. I'm curious to see what hip hop's response is going to be to Fred the Godson's death. Is it going to be just like everybody else's? Yes, it is. I'll answer the question for myself. Put the prayer hands up that I didn't know was a high five. I wasn't aware of that. We're gonna put the to rest in peace. We're gonna throw those up. But who gonna step up and say, yo, we gotta take care of ourselves? What are we doing out here? That's why I don't need to hear Beyonce thanking the essential workers. I personally don't need to hear that. I need some real action. Now again, I know about the money the donations that's taking place, which I talked about yesterday. How it's cool, but then it's also that idea of, why do y'all have to do this? And then why are you doing this? I never forget a few weeks ago, they posted. I was like, yeah, where your man Jay-Z? This is when Rihanna was giving off so much information. Right? This is when she was giving out millions and millions of dollars. And I was like, where your man Jay-Z at? Jay don't miss opportunities like this. Jay don't miss opportunities like this. And I had people saying, yeah, he gonna do something. Just wait. Or he doing something behind the scenes. I said, no, 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 no. Not for somebody who loves the spotlight. Believe it or not, he loves the spotlight, especially when he could be seen in a positive light. And sure enough, last week, I see Jay partnered. He needs some good publicity. Speaking of the NFL, for that debacle that was him joining up with the NFL. Now, rewinding back, shout out to Chance. Thanks for tuning in. Rewinding back, I'm curious to see what hip hop's going to do outside of quarantine radio with Tory Lanez, which I'm sure there's a place for. I don't want to be that bull. We need our spirits lifted. But our spirits lifted ain't saving us. Our spirits being lifted aren't saving us. That's not changing conditions. And so we need more of a coordinated response. I saw Puffy had the town hall. Cool. But it still feels like it's just such a disconnect that exists. Maybe because I've been doing a lot more reading. It's just like you just long for the days for the Baldwins and the X's and the Kings and the freedom fighters, the leaders, like the leaders, like early Jesse. But I don't think we trust enough people because of the celebrity to lead us in certain aspects of our lives. When in actuality, if we look at it, they're influencing everything that we do. But I digress, man. I digress. Again, God bless the dead. God bless the dead, man. Fred the Godson, born at the tender age of 35. Now, as we sit here and switch gears to something a little more lighter, it's a little lighter. And you might read the caption that says, domestic terrorism, white woman wanted for spitting. Yep, white woman wanted for spitting. So here in Philadelphia, it's this story, and she's actually been arrested. They haven't given her name, but this white woman has been arrested. So I'll give you the backstory. So at one of these she foo places in Old City, if you ever been to Old City, it's white people. And I love white people. Some of my closest friends are white people. Shout out to Mike, Travis, and Jamie. When you can name your white friends, you know it's a little different. But no, shout out to them. But at one point, they were looking for a woman who allegedly spat in the face of two people while shopping at the Bruno's Brothers, which is a market. And she spit on two consecutive days. She was spitting on people. And so when we look at spitting on people, it's already nasty. Spitting at somebody is an automatic punch in your face. I wish I had that clip of New York and Pumpkin. Yeah, see, y'all don't know about New York and Pumpkin, man. Y'all not. We talking about early reality TV. What Flavor of Love and Pumpkin, who she's actually from Pennsylvania, like Montgomery County, and she spit in the face of New York, a black woman, and she went after her. She went after her. Now, shout out to Steve Elric tuned in on IG Live. Now, my thing is, if you spit on me, I'm punching you in the face. I take that back. I don't hit people. I'm pressing charges because that is assault. And so what happened inside this shopping market, she said that she was walking and the woman bumped into her. So she turned around like, yo, you not adhering to social distancing. This is like me at the Dollar General yesterday or 2 days ago. The guy didn't speak English, but he was just up on my back. And I'm like, brother, what's going on? He said, oh, sorry. But the woman, instead of apologizing, like, yo, my bad. She said, B, I don't have the disease. Now that's gangster. Now if we talking about gangster points, this white woman gets a gangster point. I'm gonna put a pick up because I think we need to see. Look at it. She gangster. She got the little red scarf on. When you come out with the red scarf that's made of cloth, that means you ready for war. I'm not gonna say she a blood, but I'm not gonna say she a blood with that red scarf. And you really don't care about life if you go out with the red hanky on. Wow, because it's only protecting like 40% of particles. So that means you making business decisions when you go out here. So you got to be gangster. So I wouldn't have messed with her on the strength of that. On the strength of that. And so she like, B, what? I don't have the disease. The woman says she ignored her and then went to go buy cheeses and meats for dinner at her parents' house. Again, do we know what type of people these are? Cheeses and meats. Who even says that? What we say? What black folks say? Somebody help me out. When we going to go buy cheeses and meats, we call it lunch meat. Shout out to Leslie tuned in. Yo, we gonna go get some lunch meat. You pick up any lunch meat? And included in the word lunch meat is cheeses. It's just automatically assumed. And now, what are your cheese choices? I hate cheese personally. My daughter hates cheese as well. She gets it from me. But your cheese choices are American or Swiss. Some of y'all might go provolone, but I'm anti-cheese, so it don't really matter. But this is how we know what type of store it is. She going to go pick out the cheeses and meats. And so she said she told the woman that was really rude. We are in a pandemic. So again, Karen with the red hanky, because that's what we call her now, Karen. Because we know how they hate Karen. She said, I'll fight you right now. And so I'm reading this. Like, bruh. She said, I'm going to fight you because you bumped it. She bumped into you. And she said, yo, listen, I'll fight you. Again, I'm not playing with nobody like that because they have nothing to lose, clearly. And so she went on to spit on her. She pulled down the red hanky, spit in her face. And apparently she did that the day before, too. And so now, prior to this, she had a warrant out for her arrest. Well, not a warrant. They wanted to talk to her. But she's since been arrested. And so my first thoughts were, this is domestic terrorism. Spitting on somebody in 2020 is definitely a terroristic threat. Spitting in the vicinity of somebody else is aggravated assault. Think about it. If anybody sneezes near you, what you gonna do? You thinking automatically, what you got? It's no more God bless yous. It's, yo, you all right? You good? Oh, all right. Had to see who the Lions picked. I'm not a Lions fan. Fly, Eagles, fly. But you're going to look at them different. And so I'm like, yo, this is an act of terror. And so she should be prosecuted. She should serve some jail time. It was a woman in another state, and I don't have that information in front of me. She actually has to do jail time because she threatened to spit on a cop. Again, we know different rules for different people. And so I thought, like, yeah, this is domestic terrorism. But then I had to take a step back and think about it. I thought about spitting on somebody earlier today. Not on them, because I'll never spit on anybody. But like spit in the air, like not. See, y'all gonna think I'm nasty, and my mama watches, so don't think I'm being rude, mama. So I'm gonna play the scene out for you. So I'm running, right? Get to a little bridge. It's a white woman, and she has a biracial daughter, which means a little something to me. It means a little something to me, and I'll say why. Because the feelings that I had afterward. And I'm getting up close, and their dog is just going crazy. Like, they just letting the dog do whatever. And so we get on the bridge, and so I'm running. Now I've ran past at least 5 or 6 people. We've kept our distance from one another. And so I'm like coming through. And so I don't know if there was an expectation for me to stop, like in my tracks from running. But I ran past them. And she said, oh, you don't got to be an a-hole. And oh, man, my adrenaline is already going crazy because I'm hungry. I don't feel like running. And I'm trying to power through this. I said, I stopped and said, what? And so I'm still running in place because, I got to keep that heart rate up. And I'm like, what? You taking up all this real estate? Which you were. You can't control your dog. And then, the a-hole replayed in my head. And I called her I used some unsavory language. I did. Because if y'all don't know, I told y'all, like, I could curse somebody out with the best of them. I learned from the best of them, even though she don't do this no more. I'm not going to put her out there. But I'm not gonna lie. A part of me wanted to do the little nose thing and let's let the particles land where they may. But I thought better against it and just told her to shut up and kept running. And so yeah, I just because it's just this idea of when you feel disrespected, and it's hard, man. Again, we're all we all fall short of the glory of God. Y'all know I ain't been to church in a long time, but I know a little bit. And so in hindsight, I might have reacted a little bit different. But I'm not gonna say I agree with what she said, what she did by spitting in her face. But I understood the feeling just to make you scared and frustrated and upset. Because again, a lot of times when we're upset, we may want to make somebody else feel upset, especially if it's a stranger. But we understand the problems that they may cause long term when we talk about our physical safety. Because you never know what everybody don't want to be spit on. Everybody doesn't want to be verbally disrespected. And so me running again, people who know me know I thought a lot about that situation. And I felt bad, and I was hoping that I ran past him again, not to apologize to the mom, but to apologize to the little girl. She was maybe about 12, 13, clearly biracial. I don't want her to have this idea of black men because all this plays, especially when you're running, you got a lot of time to think. I don't want to fulfill some stereotype. I also wanted to tell her about that idea of white privilege. So I had a lot of things that I that I wanted to say because she doesn't get the privilege that her mother gets. She's not going to get that benefit of the doubt. Because again, if we talking about that one drop rule, we know you could be in Cheltenham School District, go to the finest schools, but like Kanye said, you're still an N word in a coop. But unfortunately, I didn't get an opportunity to run past her. But again, I understand those sentiments. I understand the feelings of just wanting to be mean to somebody else. Like, I don't think we have enough conversations about, sometimes we just want to be mean to somebody that's wronged us. And people are like, oh, you got to turn the other cheek. And I completely agree. Because you want to cope in a healthy way. You want to be able to process. But human nature says, y'all want to punch you in the face. It's this idea that we're a docile people. And I'm not just talking about black folk. Because our survival instincts automatically kick in, which is fight or flight. And so fight has various forms. And so, yeah, I'm not necessarily one who believes in that idea of I've turned the other cheek. I know now how to do it in a more appropriate and a healthier way. So I'm not going to spit on you like this white woman did. But my vocabulary is vast enough to hit you where it hurt. But sometimes, like the day when I was running, I didn't have time to sit and think about it. Sometimes you got to go to the low hanging fruit, just so people could feel that. But again, don't be like me. Be better than me. I'm gonna be better than me tomorrow. And straight like that, man, 45 minutes don't went that fast. Listen, I appreciate you all for tuning in. We are going to be back on Monday with the hashtag You Good Man conversation. Hopefully, we're able to have this conversation on gender identity and sexual identity with the brothers of hashtag You Good Man. Listen, I'm looking forward to it. So I want y'all to tune in Monday at 8 p.m. See you then. Peace.